Kuta Rocks Slipway. Good detail in the wooden structure and slipway in this monochrome coastal image. There is drama in the clouds too, perhaps only cropped down a little, as per the rule of thirds. The clouds predominate in the image, though artistic choice. Interesting textural variation between the foreground grass and rocks, the water, the wood, and finally the sky. An acceptance. Evening light, Macquarie Harbour. Nice light indeed at this lake scene with different boats moored. There is clarity of detail in the boats, particularly in the foreground. The hilly background forms an attractive backdrop, well handled technically to form a pleasing image. An acceptance. Evening storm. A sense of history is captured here with the face-on view of an old stores building. The black and white choice quite suits given the text displays on the building and a range of other elements. There is a sense of foreboding drama in the sky too. Crisply captured image conveying a sense of place. An acceptance. I am Siamese, if you please. Attractive textures and features of the Siamese cat are captured side on here. The mixed blue-grey textured diagonal patterned background is a wee bit distracting. On the other hand, it may be an artistic choice as the shaping of the background blue element diagonally parallels the pussycat as the main subject. Nice detail in the cat's fur and facial features. An acceptance. Missing planks. The sense of repetition is striking in this image of pier remnants. There is a great clarity in the wooden structures throughout and a strong leading line through to the background. Perhaps consider introducing some central symmetry to the image compositionally. Just a thought, noting there is a little predominance to the right. Technically well handled with pleasing lighting. An acceptance. Performance ready. Angular view of the young human subject with her activity providing a narrative, further emphasised by her lack of eye contact and busyness. Natural skin tones and clarity of detail with the centralised lighting and black background allows focus on the main subject. An acceptance. Racing. A sense of action on the sand is captured and conveyed here in this black and white image. The coastal surrounds are shown in the background by way of environmental context. The vehicle is captured sharply, notwithstanding it being in motion. A dynamic image. An acceptance. Silver Princess. The eucalyptus with its bright flowers has been captured here with marginal background distraction. The lighting seems quite bright and challenging. I suggest you seek to underexpose a little or try a different time of day. The image captures the sense of native flowering. An acceptance. The proposition. There is an interesting juxtaposition of ducks in this black and white capture of a threesome. There is sharpness of detail in the bird's feathering and other features. Perhaps a light vignette could be applied given the grassiness surrounding them. A choice to consider. A sense of story is projected. An acceptance. Underground. Monochrome square format image with a strong leading line compositionally centrally. The structures above and to the left and the right of the primary figure centrally in the image are almost semi-abstract in feel. A sense of dynamism, movement is created with the composition and context of other human subjects ahead of the main figure in the image. An acceptance. Ancient sentinel. The bales, presumably of hay, in the foreground interrupt one's view of the background hilly landscape. This provides a striking contrast between these two primary aspects of the image. Technically, the image's lighting appeals, as does its pleasing tone and colour range. Highly commended. Hypnotic. Hypnotic indeed, with many geometric forms of interest in this abstract type image. There are diagonal shapings compositionally with multiple curves forming convex patterns projecting a sense of movement. Creative imagery. Highly commended. Majestic. A majestic building forms a backdrop to a foreground of long exposure captured traffic. The dynamism of the traffic contrasts with the grounded older building. There is particularly pleasing golden lighting too. Highly commended. Morning light, Lake Pedder. There is a diagonal left to right shaping in this landscape. There is distinct interest in the shadowy grassy foreground, the lake and hilly formations centrally, and the cloudy sky respectively. There are attractive reflections captured with overall even light, a pleasing landscape image, highly commended. Mount Etna's sunrise, Rockhampton. Eye-catching golden lighting abounds in this landscape. There is a leading line too, which draws the viewer from the grassy foreground down through the misty hills further below. Perhaps only consider cropping down a little given negative space in the sky. Just a suggestion. Nicely composed landscape, lovely lighting, highly commended. Nikki. Good engagement with the subject in his bright portraiture. The background is suitably out of focus with distinct sharpness in the facial features of Nikki. The green tassel or other element attached to her coat towards the bottom of the image is a little distracting. A quaint portrait, highly commended. The nose to kiss. High key type monochrome image with a front-on view of the animal. Nice texturing and detail throughout all its features with an entirely unobtrusive background. Image has a cute factor appeal too. Well captured, highly commended. Bird of the ocean. The bird in flight is very sharply captured here in this square format image. Its feathers and textures elsewhere contrast significantly with those of the blue water below. The bubbles and mini splash in the water add further elements of interest to the image. A sense of action and activity with the bird is strongly conveyed. A merit. Contemplating purchase. A feeling of a story is conveyed in this monochromatic capture of a building structure with the human subject out front in the foreground. Very sharp and crisp tonal range in the image. The leafy elements framing contrast with the building structural elements shown. A sense of narrative portrayed. Merit. Morning rays. An impactful image with striking sun rays over a vista mountainous coastline. There are different layers through the image with lighting and colour palette across the middle most eye-catching. The capture of the two birds centrally in the distance in the image is a nice touch, giving a sense of scale and connection with wider nature. A merit. Red-tailed black cockatoo. The cockatoo's activity centrally has been well caught, giving a sense of dynamism to the image. The background is quite busy and partly in focus, so does draw the viewer's eye a little. There is sharp detail and crisp colouring in the bird's claw and other features. Well captured. Merit. Rocky outcrop. The complementary orange and blue colours predominate this seascape image. Tones are quite muted, though there is great detail in the different rocky formations in the foreground in particular. The textured effect in the water also contrasts nicely with that of the skyline, dramatic cloud formations. An attractive coastal image, well done, merit. A child to love. This is an image imbued with both emotion and a strong narrative. The two subjects are very sharply captured in monochrome with an acute sense of joy and relationship between them. There is minimal distraction in the background. Beautifully captured and presented. Honours. Horseshoe Falls 2. Lovely left to right diagonal leading line in this wide waterfall view. The long exposure effect is aesthetically pleasing with silky water. Elsewhere, there is sharpness of detail throughout. Very pleasing lighting too, and technically well crafted. Beautiful landscape image. Honours. Rainbow Valley, Northern Territory. Spectacular nighttime image with golden lighting. A dramatic night sky has been captured with a mountainous valley backdrop. There is sharpness of detail and interest in both the foreground and middle of the landscape. Extremely well handled with aesthetic appeal. Honours.